here today for the pre-bid conference for civil works and the invitation to bid number. The invitation to bid 2025-002 and invitation to bid 2025-011. We are live via YouTube in compliance with the Department Order Number 06 Series of 2024, which directs us to stream activities like this for accountability and transparency of procurement processes. Before we proceed, we request the Secretariat for a roll call and include the acknowledgement of guests present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Our attendees for today's activity, pre-bid conference for civil works for Davao de Oro 2nd District Engineering Office. We have here the back members, starting with our Vice Chairperson, Engineer Leslie Pinto.
Present.
Regular member, Engineer Jeffrey Safon.
Present.
Provisional members, we have Engineer Ernesto Ditaro Jr.
Present.
and Engineer Giancarlo Vitagupa. From the back secretariat, headed by Engineer Arthur Noel Aylor.
Present.
Back secretariat member, Ms. Gerlie Guligarde.
Present.
From the back DPWH headed by Engineer Jeffrey Ameniseo.
Present.
From the planning and design section, we have Engineer Sweetie Faye Aiko.
Present.
And we would also like to acknowledge our viewers via YouTube. Good morning and welcome. That would be all, Madam.
Thank you, Ms. Adena. Since majority of the back members are present, I hereby declare a quorum and call this meeting in order. We have the present agenda for this activity.
Agenda. First, brief presentation or explanation of the following. A. Basic contract data including contract description, ABC and duration. B. Requirements of bidding documents including instructions to bidders, general condition of contract, special conditions of contract, specifications, drawings, bill of quantities and forms. C. Documents to be submitted by the bidders. Technical component of the bid and financial component of the bid. D. Criteria and procedure for eligibility check, primary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, status of ongoing projects and award. Second, questions or comments from bidders and replies of BAC and other representatives of procuring entity. Third, other matters. 3. Strike policy against violation of Section 69.1.I of the IRR of RA 9184 and important reminders. Fourth, summary of proceedings, including supplemental or bid bulletins to be issued.
Any motion to adopt this agenda?
I move to adopt this agenda. I second the motion.
It has been moved by Engineer Samon and seconded by Engineer Tero. And with no objection, the motion to adopt this agenda is hereby approved. First in the order of business is the explanation of basic contract data, including contract description, ABC, and duration. This will be presented to us by Engineer Aiko from the Planning and Design section and Engineer Tagopa from the Maintenance section.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. To our live viewers. So, the first project, name of contract, concreting of Barangay Tandik FMR Phase 2, Barangay Tandik, Maragusan, Davao de Oro. Contract ID number 25LI0046. Location, Davao de Oro. Scope of works, concreting, with a width of 6.10 meters and thickness of 230 mm. Station 0 to Station 0 plus 568 with a total length of 568 meters. Roadway excavation, construction of RCBC, 3 meters by 3 meters by 13 meters. Construction of drainage structures, construction of slope protection, grouted riprap, construction of DA kilometer post, installation of metal guardrails including concrete post with metal beam end piece. Application of reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings. Approved budget for the contract, 14,925,000 pesos. Source of fund, FY 2025 DAFMR. Contract duration, 120 calendar days including 27 unworkable days. Size range, small d. License category, C and D. And cost of D documents, 25,000 pesos.
Any contract, construction of rainwater collection system, RWCS, Second District Engineering Office, Compostela, Davao de Oro. First location is Corazon, Aquino, National High School, Barangay Osmeña, Compostela, Davao de Oro. Second, Mambusao Elementary School, Barangay Ngan, Compostela, Davao de Oro. Third, Andap Elementary School, Barangay Andap, Bataan, Davao de Oro. Fourth, Cogonon Integrated School, Barangay Cogonon, Bataan, Davao de Oro. Fifth, Canidkid Integrated School, Barangay Canidkid, Montevista, Davao de Oro. And last, Alimadmad Integrated School, Barangay Concepcion, Montevista, Davao de Oro. Contract ID number 25LI0089. Location, Davao de Oro. Scope of works, construction of rainwater collection system, RWCS. Approved budget for the contract, 2,605,500. Source of fund, FY 2025-CSSP. Contract duration, 120 calendar days including 20 unworkable days. Size range, small b. License category, C and D. Cost of D documents, 5,000 pesos. That would be all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Engineer Aiko and Engineer Tagupa, for your explanation of the projects to be procured by interested bidders. Next in the order of business is the brief explanation of the requirements of bid documents, the documents to be submitted by the bidders, and other reminders in the preparation and submission through audio visual presentation.
To participate and qualify in our procurement activity, interested bidders are encouraged to read the following documents. 1. Instruction to bidders. 2. Bid data sheet. 3. General conditions of the contract. 4. Special conditions of the contract. 5. Bill of quantities. 6. Drawings and specification. 7. Securities and other forms as may be required for the contract. Bidders are strongly advised to read each provision, especially the instructions to bidders and general conditions of the contract, whose special instructions are clearly spelled out in the bid data sheet and special conditions of the contract, respectively. Bidders are also encouraged to check the bill of quantities so that your bid will be responsive to the requirements set forth in the bidding documents. These documents can be downloaded free of charge from the PhilJeps and DPWH websites. Interested bidders shall pay the applicable amount for the bidding documents not later than the submission of your bids. The following documents should be included by interested bidders in their bids. 1. Technical component. Technical component of the bid. PhilJeps certificate. If not enrolled in CWA. PCAB license and registration, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, SLCC, NFCC computation, and statement of total asset and total liabilities, joint venture agreement, if applicable. If already enrolled in CWR, Civil Works registration. Eligibility documents to be updated, if any. Bid security. Project requirements. Organization chart for the contract. List of contractors' key personnel. List of major equipment owned or leased. An omnibus warrant statement in prescribed format in accordance to GPPP Resolution 16-2020. Financial component of the bid. Bid form. Bid prices in the bill of quantities. detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid, and cash flow by quarter. Please be reminded that Omnibus Warrant Statement, bid form, and bid securing declaration, if opted to this type of bid security, should be in standard format as per guidelines of Government Procurement Policy Board, GPPB, in their resolution number 16-2020. These documents should be submitted using 2-envelope system. Bidders are urged to only fasten the documents at the topmost portion instead of hard or soft binding them. Each document should be ear tagged appropriately. It should be labeled based on the name of the document attached, not the number or letter according to the checklist. There shall be 3 copies of these documents, original, copy 1 and copy 2. Original copies of technical component of the bid shall be sealed on one envelope, and original copies of financial component of the bid shall be sealed on another envelope. These envelopes should be labeled as original copy of technical component and original copy of financial component. These labeled envelopes shall then be sealed into one envelope and label it as original copy of the bid. The same process of sealing for copies 1 and 2. Lastly, original copies 1 and 2 of the bid shall be sealed into one final envelope and label it appropriately as instructed in the bidding documents. Bidders are encouraged to read Section 21 of the Instructions to Bidders, page 40, to fully understand the sealing and marking of bids. Submit your bids personally here in our office, or you have also the option to submit your bids electronically. Preparation of technical and financial documents of your bids are outlined in Department Order Number 87 Series of 2020. Sealing and marking of bids is also outlined on the said DEO and is also reiterated on the bid data sheet. Interested bidders are advised to read these in case your choice is electronic submission. Submit electronic bids to electronic bids _ Davao de Oro 2 at dpwh.gov.ph. Please be reminded that your key personnel should only occupy one position in your organizational chart. Duplication of functions of your personnel will be grounds for disqualification, pursuant to the principle of Item 6 under Department Order Number 9 Series of 2012. Also, indicate the tax identification number since this will be used in the award of contract. Further, on your bid form and bill of quantities, write legibly. Also, if you are offering a discount in your bid form, please indicate specifically the methodology as to where or which pay item the discount will take effect. Absence of methodology. Original amount will prevail. Discrepancies between bid prices in words and figures. The words will prevail. Bids not addressing or providing or filling out all the required items in the bidding documents, example. In the bill of quantities, the bid is considered non-responsive and is outright disqualified. Always check your documents before submitting the same to our end to avoid disqualification of your firm.
Thank you for the presentation. To add, especially in accomplishing or filling out the BOQ, if you opt to computerize the preparation of your BOQ, please use the font style Tahoma and font size 11. This is to make your proposal readable or legible. Also, in your detailed estimates or detailed cost estimates, kindly explicitly outline and or indicate the LCM, contractor's profit, as well as the VAT. Since this would be essential during contract implementation, should there be a need for a variation order. We would also like to remind the bidders to submit trainings through email prior to the bidding date. However, only one of these trainings will be able to enter our premises during the bidding activity. Next in the order of business is the explanation of the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, status of ongoing projects and award. This will be discussed again through audio-visual presentation.
Criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of the bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, status of ongoing projects and award. The criteria for eligibility check are set forth in Section 23 of the Revised Implementing Rules and Regulations of RA 9184. All prospective bidders should have an updated Class A legal, technical and financial documents and Class B documents, if applicable. During the opening of bids, the first envelope, which contains the technical component of the bid, shall be opened. After opening the first envelope, the back shall simultaneously conduct the electronic eligibility check and preliminary examination of the technical components of the bids. Bidders who are ineligible to participate because their eligibility documents are not updated shall undergo manual eligibility check based on the submitted eligibility documents. If found to be eligible, and at the same time pass the preliminary examination of their technical proposal, their financial proposal will also be opened. However, the committee will conduct second electronic eligibility check after updating the eligibility records of the bidder through the contractor's profile application or through Procurement Service, Central Office. Result of the latest electronic eligibility processing shall prevail over the manual eligibility evaluation. All open financial components of the bid shall also undergo preliminary examination. If passed, the committee will read the bid amount stated in the bid form. The BAC shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria in considering the completeness of the bid and arithmetical corrections. Bids shall then be ranked in the ascending order of their total calculated bid prices, as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications, to identify the lowest calculated bid. The lowest calculated bid shall undergo post-qualification in order to determine whether the bidder concerned complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents pursuant to Section 34 of the Procurement Law. If found to be responsive, the bidder will be declared lowest or single calculated and responsive bid and will be recommended for award of the contract. If found to be non-responsive, the committee will conduct post-qualification to the next lowest calculated bid rank during bid evaluation stage. Also, bidders with ongoing contracts should be reminded that the committee will verify if you have existing delayed contract per Department Order Number 127 Series of 2018. Again, strict application of RA 9184 in the conduct of post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with the DPWH. If you have incurred negative slippage, as defined in the said DEO, or currently being imposed with liquidated damages, you should settle these findings before the period of post-qualification ends to avoid post-disqualification of your firm. Also, all requirements set forth in the bidding documents and the instructions relayed during this conference should be addressed and be well taken care of to avoid disqualification or post-disqualification. The BAC, with the assistance of the equipment verification team, will be strict on the compliance of the equipment as part of post-qualification as per DEO number 127 series of 2018. As part of the post-qualification, the equipment verification team will conduct an inspection on the verification of the equipment pledged by the bidder, including other documents to be evaluated.
Thank you for the presentation. We are now through with Agenda 1 and its subsections. We will proceed to Agenda 2, the question, comments from leaders, and replies of BAC and other representative of procuring entity. Any questions?
None so far, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay, if there are no further questions, we will move on to the other matters, including the three-strike policy regarding violations of Section 69.1.I of the IRR of RA 9184, as well as the additional reminders and guidelines for prospective bidders, which will be presented via audio-visual presentation.
Three-strike policy against violation of Section 69.1.I of the IRR of RA 9184. In order to establish a fair and transparent system for managing offenses committed by bidders in the procurement of infrastructure, goods, and consulting services projects through public bidding, the Department of Public Works and Highways hereby introduces an updated three-strike policy. This policy is aimed at enforcing adherence to the procurement guidelines stipulated under Section 69.1.I of the 2016 Revised Implementing Rules and Regulations of RA 9184. Under this policy, if a bidder commits 3 offenses or acts described as all other acts that tend to defeat the purpose of competitive bidding, they shall be subjected to an administrative penalty. These offenses or acts are further classified into 3 major categories, as enumerated. Classification of offenses that triggers the three-strike policy and the exceptions. 1. Withdrawal from the bidding process, submission of a non-participation letter, or failure to submit a bid after purchasing the bid documents. However, the Bids and Awards Committee recognizes certain valid reasons for these actions. If upon computation prior to bid submission, the bidder determines that their proposed bid price will exceed the approved budget for the contract, ABC. To substantiate this, the bidder must provide evidence. Acceptable proof includes, but is not limited to, a detailed budget estimation or a market price report. First, submission of late bids without valid reasons, as determined by the BAC. Exceptions will be considered under extraordinary circumstances, such as force majeure. This refers to unexpected and unavoidable external events that impede or prevent a bidder from timely bid submission, as defined in Article 1174 of the Philippine Civil Code. Second, submission of patently insufficient bid. A patently insufficient bid refers to a bid that fails to include or comply with certain mandatory requirements. The determination of whether a bidder committed such an offense may occur as outlined. A. During eligibility screening and/or shortlisting. 1. Submission of an expired Certificate of Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System PhilJEPS registration, Platinum membership, or a Certificate of PhilJEPS certification containing expired Class A legal and financial documents, as determined during the eligibility screening. 2. Failure to include Certificate of Employment, contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm, and curriculum vitae in the application for eligibility. B. During bid evaluation. First, failure to submit required bid forms, as outlined in Annex C detailing the complete list of required bid forms. Second, submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to the non-inclusion and/or omission of mandatory provisions and statements for the required bid forms, as per Annex C outlining the mandatory provisions of required forms. Third, submission of an unnotarized bid securing declaration, an omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement, or statements from all the potential joint venture partners, with the exception during the declaration of state of calamity, or implementation of community quarantine or similar restrictions declared or being implemented either in the locality of the procuring entity or of the bidder. Fourth, submission of the bid form, price schedules, bid securing declaration, omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement without the name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative. Fifth, nomination of key personnel of a profession different from what is required by the bidding documents. Sixth, failure to submit proof of ownership, lease, or purchase agreement of pledged equipment. Seventh, failure to submit the required certification of key personnel as per Department Order No. 9, Series of 2012. Eighth, failure to comply with the required minimum number of key personnel and equipment as stated in the bidding documents. C. During post-qualification. Participation in bidding for infrastructure projects by a bidder whose allowable range of contract costs, as indicated on the PCAB license, does not match with the specific requirements of the infrastructure project being bid for, in terms of category, classifications, and size ranges. Third, enforcement and penalties. If a bidder commits any of the 3 major offenses, or acts listed above 3 times within a year, starting from the approval date of the resolution recommending the imposition of Strike 1, first warning, which is counted as Day 1, through day 365. And if these three offenses are of a similar or identical nature, it will trigger the enforcement of the stipulated administrative penalty, suspension from participating in all DPWH procurement activities and entering into contract with any DPWH procuring entity. Subsequently, as per the procedure outlined in Annex A, this may result in the blacklisting of the suspended bidder, thereby disqualifying the bidder from participating in any government procurement activities for a period of 1 year. In conjunction with blacklisting, the bidder will also face bid security forfeiture and must comply with the enforcement of the bid securing declarations conditions. In more severe instances, when a bidder commits another set of 3 similar offenses, or more than 2 sets of 3 similar offenses, instances where more than 6 similar offenses occur within the said 1-year time frame, the bidder may be subjected to an increased penalty resulting in blacklisting for a period of 2 years. The effective duration for the penalty of either 1 or 2 years applicable will be clearly stipulated in the blacklisting order, with the provision that the duration of blacklisting shall not exceed a maximum period of 2 years, commencing on the date the blacklisting order is approved and issued by the Secretary. Another important reminders. Department Order Number 227 Series of 2024. Suspension of Department Order Number 148 Series of 2024. In order to address the foreseen delay in the implementation of new infrastructure projects due to the unavailability of DPWH accredited project engineers who are currently assigned by contractors and consultants to ongoing projects, the implementation of Department Order Number 148 Series of 2024 RE guidelines in the accreditation and assignment of contractors and consultants, project engineers, is hereby suspended until further notice. This directive to suspend the application of DEO number 148 series of 2024 shall not apply to the implementation and construction of buildings and bridges. Thus, for construction of buildings and bridges, accredited project engineers shall be assigned by contractors and/or consultants. Nonetheless, the accreditation examination shall be continuously administered, and all other activities relative to the aforesaid accreditation shall not be affected by this suspension. This department order supersedes any previous department orders, memoranda, and/or instructions inconsistent with the foregoing and shall take effect immediately. Department Order Number 110 Series of 2024. Implementation of ISO 9001 of 2015 certification requirement for large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. The department shall now mandate ISO 9001 of 2015 certification as part of the project requirements for contractors involved in the procurement of infrastructure projects. This requirement applies to bidders classified under the following Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAP size range and are participating in the department's procurement of infrastructure projects with approved budget for the contract ABC range to win. For PCAP size range, large A allowable range of contract cost. More than 300 million pesos but less than 450 million pesos. Effectivity January 1, 2025. For PCAP size range, medium B, allowable range of contract cost. More than 150 million pesos, but less than 300 million pesos. Effectivity July 1, 2025. For PCAP size range, medium A, allowable range of contract cost. More than 30 million pesos, but less than 150 million pesos. Effectivity January 1, 2026. Department Order Number 241 Series of 2024. Guidelines on the processing, approval and reporting system of Construction Safety and Health Program or CSHP for DPWH infrastructure projects. In line with the policies established by the Department of Public Works and Highways and the Department of Labor and Employment on the processing and approval of Construction Safety and Health Program for the DPWH infrastructure projects, herein are the guidelines for the preparation, submission, evaluation, and approval of CSHPs including the corresponding reporting system for all DPWH implemented infrastructure projects. This department order aims to harmonize provisions from various issuances relative to the processing of the CSHPs for DPWH, particularly the joint memorandum of agreement between the DPWH and DOLE as signed on October 7, 2024. Guidelines for the preparation, submission, evaluation, and approval of CSHP. In the issuance of the Notice of Award or Letter of Acceptance, as for the case of foreign assisted projects, the head of the DPWH Implementing Office shall require the winning bidder to submit the approved CSHP using the template recommended by DOLE as a guide. The submission for approval of CSHP shall include the application form for the evaluation or processing and other supporting documents as per DOLE's latest issued format and checklist of requirements in the application of CSHP. The DPWH Implementing Office shall only receive CSHP applications with complete documents. Any incomplete applications shall not be received, specifying the lacking documents. The submitted CSHP and supporting documents shall be evaluated by qualified CSHP evaluators duly supervised by the Implementing Office, CSHP focal person. It shall be evaluated based on the provisions of RA number 11058 and its IRR and other related issuances of DOLE using the evaluation form prescribed by DOLE. If found in order, the CSHP focal person shall recommend the approval of the CSHP to the head of Implementing Office. Else, the CSHP shall be immediately returned to the contractor citing specific deficiencies. The head of Implementing Office, upon the recommendation of the CSHP focal person, shall approve the CSHP not later than 7 calendar days from the issuance of the NOWA to the contractor. The contractor shall submit the CSHP not later than 3 calendar days from the issuance of NOWA to give time for its evaluation and approval. The DPWH approved CSHP is a requirement for the processing and approval of the contract agreement. Moreover, no claims by the contractor for advance payment or first progress billing shall be processed and paid without the submission of DPWH approved CSHP. The DPWH will only approve CSHPs through a form prescribed by the DOLE if found in order. The DPWH projects shall not be implemented without the approved construction safety and health program by the head of the DPWH Implementing Office. Fourth, reporting. Upon the approval of the CSHP and during the contract setup, the Implementing Office assigned monitoring engineer shall input the data necessary in the CSHP module of the project and contract management application or PCMA.
Thank you to all prospective bidders. Please carefully read all instructions and ensure full compliance to avoid any violations that could result as strike penalty. And for a more detailed instructions and comprehensive guidelines on the key reminders briefly mentioned, bidders are strongly encouraged to review the relevant department orders thoroughly. These documents are available for viewing and download on the DPWH website. Now we will proceed to the last agenda, the summary of proceedings, including supplemental bid bulletins to be issued, which will be presented by Engineer Tero.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All the needed information were discussed and explained. I would like to remind the prospective bidders to visit from time to time the DPWH and Concepcion websites, especially within 7 calendar days prior to the deadlines of the submission of bids, for supplemental or bid bulletins to be issued thereafter. Please also be reminded that the submission of bids on or before June 5, 2025, 10 a.m. Late bids shall not be accepted. Bid opening shall be immediately right after the bid submission deadline. That's all.
Thank you. all of the business in the agenda were already taken into consideration. May I know the pleasure of the body?
I move to adjourn this conference.
I second the motion.
It has been moved by Engineer Samon and seconded by Engineer Tero. And with no objection, the motion to adjourn this conference is hereby approved. This conference is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.